What if the only thing standing between you and millions of dollars is not your talent, not your network, not your capital, but your complete inability to communicate value? Most people are out here grinding 80-hour weeks, building beautiful products, creating incredible services, and then wondering why nobody is buying. Here's the brutal truth that nobody wants to hear. The market doesn't reward the best product. The market rewards the best communicated product. Selling is not manipulation. Selling is not sleazy. Selling is the art of transferring belief from your mind into someone else's mind so powerfully that they feel stupid, not giving you money. Every CEO, every billionaire, every person who has ever built generational wealth has mastered one core skill, the ability to sell. Not sometimes, not occasionally, obsessively. If you cannot sell, you cannot scale. If you cannot scale, you cannot win. The game was always about selling. You just didn't know it yet. What if every rejection you've ever received was not about your product, but about your pitch? Think about that for a second. You've been blaming your offer, blaming the market, blaming the economy, when the real problem was sitting right between your teeth, your words. The wealthiest people on earth are not the smartest people on earth. They are the best communicators. Warren Buffett once said that public speaking and communication skills alone increased his personal worth by 50%. 50%. One skill, one investment. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. When you learn to craft words that create desire, that trigger emotion, that build urgency, and that eliminate fear, money becomes almost inevitable. People don't buy products. People buy feelings. People buy transformation. People buy the version of themselves they believe they'll become after the purchase. Your job is not to describe your product. What if the reason you're broke is not because you lack opportunity, but because you lack the courage to ask? Here's something that will destroy your excuses permanently. Asking is a skill. Closing is a skill. And like every skill on this planet, it can be learned, practiced, and mastered by anyone willing to be uncomfortable long enough to get good. Most people lose millions of dollars over their lifetime simply because they never asked. They never asked for the sale. They never asked for the raise. They never asked for the partnership. Fear of rejection is costing you your dream life. Every no you avoid asking for is a yes that never happened. The top 1% of earners in any industry are not afraid of no. They are obsessed with the process of getting to yes. They understand that rejection is not personal, it's directional. It tells you where to adjust, refine, and come back stronger. Stop treating rejection like a stop sign. Start treating it like a GPS rerouting you to your destination. What if you could manufacture trust so fast that strangers become buyers within minutes of meeting you? This sounds like dark magic. It's not. It's called authority positioning, and it is the single most underutilized weapon in business today. When people trust you, price becomes almost irrelevant. When people trust you, objections evaporate. When people trust you, they refer their friends, their family, their colleagues, and your business grows without you spending a single extra dollar on advertising. Trust is built through specificity. Vague claims create doubt. Specific results create belief. Don't say, "We help businesses grow." Say, "We helped 47 e-commerce brands increase their revenue by 340% in 90 days without spending more on ads." Feel the difference? That specificity hits different because it's real, it's measurable, and it's believable. The faster you can establish authority and trust in a conversation, the faster money moves toward you. Learn to communicate proof. Learn to stack credibility. Learn to make your track record speak louder than your pitch. What if the script you're using to sell yourself is literally repelling the people you're trying to attract? Here's what most people get completely wrong about selling. They talk too much about themselves and not enough about the customer. Nobody cares about your story until they believe you understand their pain. Nobody cares about your solution until they feel you truly see their problem. The best sales conversation in the world doesn't feel like a sales conversation at all. It feels like someone finally, deeply, completely understanding what you've been struggling with, and then handing you the exact answer you've been searching for. This is called empathy-driven selling, and it is more powerful than any tactic, any script, any closing technique ever invented. When your prospect feels genuinely seen, they lower every wall they've built. They stop negotiating. They stop objecting. They start trusting. Master the art of listening so precisely that your words feel like they were pulled directly from inside your customer's head, and watch what happens to your conversion rate. What if one skill, practiced daily for just 1 year, could completely rewrite your financial future forever? This is not motivation, this is mathematics. If you improve your ability to sell by just 1% every single day, your communication, your framing, your follow-up, your closing, the compound effect of that growth over 365 days is not 365% better. It's 3,778% better. That's the power of compounding applied to a human skill. The people making millions are not 10 times smarter than you. They are not 10 times more talented than you. They've simply committed to one skill longer than everyone else gave up. They showed up on the days when it felt pointless. They practiced when they were tired. They refined their message when everyone told them it was good enough. Good enough never built an empire. Obsessive refinement did. The market will always pay a premium for exceptional communicators. The question is whether you are willing to do the work that ordinary people aren't to earn the results that ordinary people never will. What if I told you that right now, at this exact moment, you are sitting on a gold mine, and the only reason you haven't touched it yet is because nobody ever taught you the one skill that actually unlocks it. Not a new business idea, not a new investment strategy, not a new side hustle. One single skill. And here's what makes this terrifying. The person working half your hours, with half your intelligence, with a fraction of your experience, is making 5 times your income right now. Not because they're luckier, not because they know someone you don't, not because the universe handed them something it denied you. They simply mastered something you haven't yet. Something so fundamental, so powerful, so universally applicable that every industry on earth rewards it at the highest level possible. And by the time this speech is over, you are going to understand exactly what that skill is, why you haven't been told about it, how to start building it immediately, and what your life looks like 1 year from now if you actually commit to it. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share changes everything. What if the single greatest lie ever told to your generation was that working hard was enough? You were told to study hard, get good grades, get a stable job, keep your head down, do good work, and the money would follow. So you did. You studied, you worked, you produced, you showed up early and stayed late. You gave your absolute best. And somewhere along the line, you looked up and realized that the equation was broken. Hard work without the ability to communicate your value is like having the most powerful engine in the world with no wheels. You can rev it all day long, but you are going nowhere. Here's what the most financially successful people on earth figured out early and what most people never figure out at all. The marketplace does not pay for effort. The marketplace pays for perceived value. And perceived value is entirely determined by your ability to communicate. The moment you understand this, everything shifts. Your entire relationship with money changes. Because now you realize that wealth is not something that happens to certain people. Wealth is something that is built by people who learned how to speak the language of value so fluently that others are compelled to exchange their money for what they're offering. Selling is that language. And if you are not obsessively, relentlessly, unapologetically committed to mastering it, you will spend your entire life being the best kept secret in your industry. What if the word selling has been poisoned in your mind by people who were too afraid to do it themselves? Most people hear the word selling and they immediately picture someone manipulative, aggressive, fake, the used car salesman stereotype that Hollywood loves to push. And because of that image, they decided they would never be that person. Noble decision. Catastrophic consequence. Because in rejecting that broken image of selling, they also rejected the one skill that pays everything. They rejected the ability to articulate value. They rejected the ability to change someone's mind. They rejected the ability to move people from confusion to clarity, from hesitation to commitment, from problem to solution. Here's the real definition of selling that nobody gives you. Selling is the transfer of belief. That's it. If you believe deeply, completely, obsessively, that what you have will change someone's life, and you can transfer that belief into another person's mind with enough clarity and conviction that they feel it too, you have just made a sale. No manipulation, no pressure, no sleazy tactics, just genuine belief communicated so powerfully that it becomes contagious. Every time a doctor tells a patient they need surgery, that's selling. Every time a teacher convinces a student that math matters, that's selling. Every time a parent persuades a child to make a better choice, that's selling. You have been selling your entire life. You just haven't been getting paid for it because you haven't treated it as the serious, learnable, massively valuable skill that it actually is. What if your inability to ask is costing you more than any bad investment ever could? There's a number I want you to think about. Take your current income. Now multiply it by every year you've been working. That's what you've earned. Now here's the uncomfortable question. What's the gap between that number and what you actually wanted? What's the difference between where you are and where you thought you'd be by now? That gap has a name. That gap is called asks you never made, raises you never requested, clients you never followed up with, partnerships you never proposed, prices you never charged because you were afraid someone would say no. Fear of rejection is the most expensive fear in the world. It doesn't feel expensive in the moment. It feels safe. It feels polite. It feels humble. But over a lifetime, the cost of avoided rejection is measured not in dollars. It's measured in entire alternate versions of your life that you never got to live. The version of you that asked for the promotion. The version of you that closed that big client. The version of you that charged what your service was actually worth. The top earners in every field share one non-negotiable characteristic. They're comfortable being uncomfortable. They ask anyway. They pitch anyway. They close anyway. Not because rejection doesn't sting. It does. But because they have done the math. And they know that the pain of rejection is always, always smaller than the cost of silence. What if trust is not something people give you, but something you can deliberately, strategically build in minutes? This is where it gets extraordinary. Most people think trust takes years. Most people think you have to know someone forever before they'll buy from you. And that belief keeps them stuck in long, painful, drawn-out sales processes that drain their energy and produce inconsistent results. The truth is that trust is a feeling, and feelings can be created quickly when you know exactly what creates them. Specificity creates trust. When you speak in specific numbers, specific time frames, specific outcomes, specific case studies, your prospect's brain registers those details as real. Vagueness triggers doubt. Specificity triggers belief. Empathy creates trust. When someone feels that you actually understand their problem, not on a surface level, but on a deep, personal, emotional level, they immediately lower their defenses. Because you've done something rare, you've made them feel seen, and people buy from people who see them. Consistency creates trust. When your words match your actions, when your promises match your delivery, when your reputation arrives before you do, trust happens faster than you think possible. Build these three things into every conversation you have, every piece of content you create, every email you send, and watch strangers become buyers, buyers become advocates, and advocates become your entire marketing department. What if the words you choose are literally the difference between poverty and wealth? Words are not just communication. Words are architecture. They build structures in people's minds. The right word opens a door. The wrong word closes it permanently. Consider that two people can be selling the exact same product at the exact same price in the exact same market, and one of them makes $100,000 a year while the other makes $10 million. Same product, same market, same price, different words. The person making $10 million has learned how to frame. Framing is the art of presenting information in a context that produces the exact emotional response you need to guide someone toward a decision. This costs $2,000 is a statement. This saves you $50,000 over the next 12 months, and it costs $2,000 to start is a frame. One creates resistance, one creates desire. Same number, completely different reality. This is why the best copywriters in the world are paid millions of dollars to write words, not code, not products, words. Because the right words in the right order create action at massive scale. Start studying language like your income depends on it, because it does. Read great copy, dissect great pitches, record yourself and listen back. Study why certain phrases make you feel something and others don't. Become obsessively forensically aware of the power sitting inside your vocabulary. What if 1 year of deliberate practice on this one skill made every other problem in your life easier to solve? Here's the conclusion that nobody gives you at the end of these conversations. Mastering the ability to sell, communicate, and persuade doesn't just make you more money. It makes you more effective at everything. Your relationships improve because you learn to truly listen and understand people. Your leadership improves because you learn to inspire action through words rather than authority. Your confidence improves because you stop avoiding conversations that feel difficult and start walking toward them knowing you have the tools to handle them. This is a skill that compounds in every direction of your life simultaneously. And it starts with a decision, not a big, complicated, expensive decision. A simple one. The decision to take this skill seriously. The decision to stop treating selling as something beneath you and start treating it as something that serves you and the people you're trying to help. The decision to practice one more conversation, write one more piece of copy, make one more call, refine one more pitch, every single day until it becomes the most natural thing you've ever done. The people who build extraordinary financial lives do not have extraordinary luck. They have extraordinary communication. They made the decision you are sitting with right now, and then they actually did the work. Here is the entire truth wrapped in one paragraph. The only skill you need to make millions is the ability to communicate value so clearly, so compellingly, and so consistently that the people who need what you have can no longer imagine living without it. That skill is selling. Not the manipulative version, not the pressure-filled version, the honest, empathy-driven, belief-transferring version that serves the person in front of you as much as it serves you. Build this skill with the same obsession you'd bring to any investment, because it is the highest returning investment available to any human being on earth. Your product can be copied. Your technology can be replicated, your price can be matched, but your ability to connect, communicate, and convert, that belongs only to you. Sharpen it daily, protect it fiercely, and never stop getting better at it. The market is waiting to pay you exactly what you're willing to communicate your worth.